Welcome to Lands Across America.
Hi. All right.
Welcome to Lands Across America.
Gosh. You're killing me.
Welcome to Lands Across America.
Hey guys.
How are you?
This is like
Today,
take 7.
we're going to talk about our finances today. You see what we're doing? People always try to avoid talking about their finances together.
Yeah. For some reason, I don't know. Money is just one of those personal topics. Nobody wants to talk about it, but we all got to deal with it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're just going to put ourselves out there.
Yeah, it took us a while to get on the same page. Some days we're not on the same page, but it took us a while to actually get to the point of talking about our finances together when we first got together. To be able to get to the place of living in an RV and traveling across the U.S.
Yeah, for sure.
And one of the hardest things to do is to actually sit down. Well, one of the hardest things for me to do is to actually sit down, take a hard look at the situation in order to correct the situation and live the life that I wanted to live.
Yeah, and me, I've always been the person that, would come up with these game plans on how I'm going to save money to get to whatever the goal was. And with Erica, she's money focused as well, but she looks at money differently and she spends more money than I do. It's a matter of combining our incomes, our individual debts, seeing what that looked like, and then game planning. Okay, here's where we're at, here's where we're trying to get to, because we know we have to buy an RV, and eventually we're gonna have to buy a truck. That's acquiring debt just so we can travel. So we had to come to a compromise and figure out how to work on that as a couple, especially because we both wanted to travel and live in an RV, and we had to get some stuff straight before any of that can happen.
Yeah. And it's like, I always had the big dream of living in an RV and going out on the road and traveling full time, but I didn't know how to get there or where to start. And it came down to knowing where I was financially. I started opening up my mail, looking at everything, seeing how much I owed, who I owed it to, and I realized that it really wasn't that bad. It seems like it's that bad when you just ignore it and stuff it in a drawer, but once you look at it and find out where you are, for me it was a big relief. And then it was easy to tackle and knock bills off the list and have them paid off. We still have a lot to pay off, debt that we've acquired together.
We have $170,000 in debt, and that debt includes our student loans combined, our RV, our truck, some credit cards, and then some miscellaneous stuff, right? We knew that coming in, we were going to take on some debt so we could live this lifestyle, and we were willing to do that. That's just something that we didn't have cash to buy a truck and buy an RV. And so we knew we were going to take on some debt and have monthly payments. So after that, it was a matter of, okay, how do we make sure we pay these debts off in a timely manner? Because for one, I don't want to work the rest of my life just so I can keep traveling. That doesn't make sense to me. I think Erica has the same notion. It doesn't make sense to go into debt and not have a game plan to get out of it. And so I think a lot of people didn't really understand, like people meaning our friends and family, they kind of thought we were nuts. You're going to do what? You're going to live in an RV full time? Yeah, because we're ready to start living our retirement life now, even though we're very far from retirement age. And that's real important to us. We want to travel and see the sights now. We want to see America now. We do have a lot of debt behind us, and that is something that every time we're traveling, we have to do it on a budget. That's why we sit in one place for a very long time. That's part of the reason. It's cost efficient, and it works for us. There's a lot of RVers out there who pick up and move every few days. you know, and they're somewhere else. They could be in a different city or be in a whole nother state every week. Whereas we decided for us that that's not what we want to do. Yeah, we'd like to see all those places and see them as fast as possible. But I think for us, it just makes more sense to sit in one place, take it all in, and pay some debts off in the meantime. So, yeah.
So we got the RV and it was $38,000, and then we got the truck. I think it was $28,000. I don't really remember the number.
Yeah, that's about right. That took a while for me to wrap my brain around that, because at first, remember, I was like, maybe we could buy an RV for cash and not get something that we're gonna have to make payments on. And you know, we had a certain amount of money that we were trying to save up cash, but all the RVs needed so much work because, you know, you pay cash for something. I think our budget was like $10,000 or $15,000, and we were looking at Class A's. Class A's are the big buses you see on the road. So those have engines in them. Those cost a lot of money. We needed a diesel, and so if you're trying to spend 15 grand on a diesel Class A, you're looking at something that's 25 years old,
right? Which
is going to need a lot of work, and so that just didn't work out.
Yeah, we want to just expose it, talk to you about how we do things, how we budget. Maybe one day we'll show you some real concrete numbers, and yeah, just hopefully inspire other people to, you know, figure out how to get out of debt and put money towards living the life that they really want to live.
And before we bought the RV and the truck, we got married, and we decided, okay, we know that once we get an RV, we will have to buy a truck, and that is debt that we're going to acquire so we can live the lifestyle we have. But if going forward, we don't want to acquire debt unnecessarily. And so when we were planning our wedding, we cash flowed the whole thing. We would do certain things, like for instance, we had a group of friends that we would always go out with, hang out with, do things together. We started cutting back on going out, and what we actually did was we would invite our friends over. What do we call it? Documentary and discussion night, right? Mm-hmm. So we pick something to watch and have these debates or conversations about it and have drinks and food, and that was our going out, and that saved us a lot of money, and we were also still able to have a good time with our friends. So little things like that, we would make these little tweaks to our lifestyle to where we were still able to enjoy certain aspects of our lifestyle, but we were saving a ton of money and putting that money in the savings account so we can cash flow our wedding. And
so when the wedding came, everything was paid for. We had no outstanding bills. No debt. And it was great. It was great to get married that way, knowing everything was paid in full. We could enjoy the day. We didn't have any debt from the wedding after that. And yeah. And we've had some interesting times on this journey. You know, we've made a lot of mistakes, which we'll go into a little bit later, trying to, you know, just set out on the road, and things that we did not account for, finding out that we did not save enough money. We didn't save this, we should have saved more than what we saved before we hit the road. We don't fight about it as much anymore, but it was a struggle at first, you know, because it's like you have to just open that door and be really honest about what's going on.
Yeah, it was hard to, it was just a matter of seeing things the same way. I spend money completely differently than how she spends money. And that's just a habit that I've had instilled in me before I met her. And so those are the type of debates we would have, like, okay, well, should I spend this much money on this, or can you spend less? And so those were kind of the things that we were going through.
You know, we just have to adjust to each other and figure it out.
Yeah.
So it's just it's been an interesting journey, but a good journey, and we're learning a lot.
Yeah,
and we just figure we can share those things with you all who are looking forward to traveling, and for people who are already on the road who are like, you know, trying to figure out how to manage their budgets as well.
Yeah.
So, you can still live a fulfilled life, just more cheaply. Cam is getting anxious, so I guess
he's running into the camera. So.
Yeah, I guess that we'll tend to him, and until next time.
All right,
Thanks for
guys.
following us.
Bye.